So this is the Bushnell Trophy Cam HD. We're going to open it up. This camera takes 8 AA batteries, and these batteries do come loose very easily with this camera, and this is a big problem because it won't have full battery life. So every time you set up your camera, just use your fingers, press the batteries down, make sure that they are properly seated, and if you turn your camera on and the batteries are low, this light up here will appear blue. So the Bushnell cameras have a port at the bottom here. If this port is open in the weather, it could introduce moisture into your camera. So if you are buying your own Bushnell camera, we highly recommend that every time you set this camera out, that this port is closed, or you may even want to super glue it shut. So the Bushnell camera has an on-off switch that actually has 3 settings: on, off, and setup. In order to enter the menu to change functions on the camera, we will enter the setup mode, which is the middle setting. It'll take it a minute, but then the screen will light up. Now, the first thing that we want to do with our camera is the walk test. And when the Bushnell camera is in setup mode, it is automatically also in walk test mode. So when we close the camera, we should see a red light on the front every time an animal moves in front of it, or when we move in front of it, so that we can then measure the detection distance. Once the Bushnell camera is in setup mode, we have access to the menu, and we have a number of function buttons down here that will allow us to navigate through the menu. We have up and down, left and right, OK, and menu. So in order to get to the menu options, we will click Menu. The first thing that we're going to do is actually format our memory card, which is the same thing as erasing our memory card. Remember, you want to do this each time you set up your camera, but make sure that you don't delete any pictures that have not yet been uploaded. So once you're in the menu, use the left or right arrows to scroll through it. This is a circular menu, so you can go either way. And you're looking for Format. There it is, Format, and then the option is Execute. Press OK. Then it's going to ask you, are you sure? Press up or down to mark yes. Press OK. And it's going to take it a minute to format or erase your card. And then once it comes back to the Execute option, it means it's done. Once we've erased the card, let's go check and make sure that indeed our card has 0 pictures on it. We'll also want to check how much battery life we have. To do that, press Menu, and you'll come to the main page. This is the main page that you get when you first enter setup mode. And there are a couple of important items on this page. The first, in this corner, is the battery life. You want at least 2 bars of battery life to put your camera out for 3 weeks without having to change the batteries. The other item is down here at the bottom. This says 0000 out of 4,847. That is how many pictures are on your card and how many pictures the card is capable of holding. Also on this setup screen is the time and date. It's very important that the time and date are always accurate each time you set out your camera. Unfortunately, with the Bushnell cameras, when the batteries become jostled or loosened or are removed or fail, the date and time will automatically reset to January 1st, 2012. In order to avoid this when you're changing batteries, we suggest that you change and remove only 4 batteries at a time, and that way the camera never fully loses power. However, the batteries can still become jostled or fail, and so you should always check this. And if you need to adjust the date, this is how you do it. You go through to Menu, and then scroll with the left or right arrow until you get to Clock Set. All right, and then press OK. And now with your up and down arrows and your left and right arrows, you can adjust the date and time. The date is month, day, year, and the time is in military time. Once you've set the date and time, you can press OK and it will save it. To check and make sure that it has been saved properly, press Menu and check the date time again to make sure it's accurate. Okay, we're ready to arm the camera now. Turn the switch simply to on. The screen will turn off, but when we close our camera, you see this bottom light here is flashing red. It gives us a little countdown. Make sure, of course, to latch your camera. Closed. And now the red light has stopped flashing. That means that this camera is armed and ready to take pictures anytime an animal moves in front of it. From this point, when it's taking pictures, you'll no longer see any red lights on the front. But if you want to check and make sure it's actually working, you can open it back up, go to the setup mode, and check the number of pictures on the card on that main screen.